This problem wants us to find the limit as x approaches infinity of this given equation right here. So we're being asked to find the limit as x approaches infinity of the square root of 25x to the fourth plus 5 over 3x squared minus 9. The method for working with infinite limits is always the same. It really is this process of dividing everything by the highest power of x. When you look at a problem like this, though, the key issue here is how to compare things that are inside a square root to things that are outside a square root. So outside a square root, I can see an x squared right now. However, inside the square root, I see an x to the fourth. So which of those is the highest power of x? Remember that when you're taking the square root of something, like if I take the square root of x to the sixth, this is really, if you rewrote that in terms of an exponent, this would be a 1/2 power. That's how you would rewrite a root. And so out of there, x to the sixth is really the same as x to the third. So when you go to compare powers inside your root, you need to think about what they would also have looked like outside your root. So x to the sixth inside a square root is the same thing as x to the third on the outside of our square root. So when I come to look at this problem right now, and I look at my x to the fourth on the inside, if I take that 1/2 power, that is the exact same thing as x squared. They are actually the same power. It's just one of them is what it looks like inside a square root, and one of them is what it looks like outside of the square root. So what that tells us when we go to do our method here of dividing by the highest power of x is when I divide the pieces inside my root, I want to divide everything by x to the fourth. When I divide things outside my square root, I want to divide everything by x squared. So if we rewrite this limit now, dividing everything by our highest power, I get the square root of, and then inside here, I divide x to the fourth on the inside, plus and then 5 over x to the fourth. And then as I come to do the outside, I divide everything on the outside by x squared, 9 over x squared. One of the rules they just want you to know as you're doing this is this concept that the limit as x heads to infinity of 1 over x, anytime that I have an x as the dominant term on the bottom, that this always heads to 0. So as we come through to clean this up, we would say, okay, x to the fourth cancels out with x to the fourth. That's going to leave me with the square root of 25. And then when I've got just that highest power happening on bottom, that's this rule right here. So this piece goes to 0. So on the top, I have the square root of 25. On the bottom, as I simplify it, x squared cancels out with x squared, and I'm left with that 3. And then again, on this one, 9 divided by x squared, that's going to head to 0. And so what I'm looking at is the square root of 25 over 3, which if I simplify it down, the square root of 25 is 5, and the 3 stays on bottom. And so the answer on this problem would be 5 over 3. So this is how you handle powers inside a root, comparing them to powers outside a root to find out what you want to divide by when you're using this method of dividing by the highest power of x. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.